Hello. Wow. We are back at FanFest to talk some wrestling. This is your favorite wrestling podcast. I am Crunk Chocolate, and I am here with my tag team partner, Grego.
Yo. It's been a minute, man. And we coming off a very busy weekend, and we got some things to talk about and catch up on. And how you been, man?
I've been good, just preparing for it's the end of the season, so that doesn't necessarily mean content for the soccer branch ends. If anything, it just means we pivot to other things, preparing all of that. I'm going to Chicago. They're going to be throwing a Juneteenth event for a Chicago doubleheader. So I'll be going to that June 14th. And then I'll be in your area, Atlanta, June 20th through the 23rd for some Club World Cup.
So that's the Crunk World Tour.
Hey,
let's go ahead and get out of the way. Let's shake on it, because we ain't win nothing. Y'all ain't win nothing. It's just a trophyless Manchester. It's just where it is right now. It's just where it is.
That's hilarious. I agree. I'm allowed. Devin, you there?
I don't know if he's there. You got you remember the Nick Jr. face? It's me face.
Yeah, right. That is how it feels. That's exactly how it feels. Oh, there he is. We got him visually. We got audio?
We got audio.
Oh, we got audio.
We got the soul voices of Devin the Dude.
Devin the Dude, he's here. How's it going, homie?
Hey, look, I don't like all this trophy talk that we're talking, or this lack of trophy.
I mean, you got a little bit to talk about. You got a little bit to talk about. The women did just fine. I can't speak for the men, but the women did their job.
Look, all I'm going to say is my mama raised a gentleman, right? That's how ladies first. That's all. That's what we're doing.
First and second.
Oh man, yeah.
Hey, but look, man, only team in England to do it twice.
Yeah.
So hey, we're gonna take the dubs where we can.
Got to take the silver linings when they're found.
I mean, it's a pretty good silver lining. I wanted to start here, and I'm happy that Devin, you're here to help join, because again, I'm going to be here to possibly shit on some stuff, say I don't like it, and I'm going to need my brilliant wrestling show bros, my trio partners, to help me understand why I should care about certain things. And we're going to start off here. YFWP, they're back. Like,
I can't even help you on that one, dog. I can't even help you. Now, I mean, it was cute for what they did on Friday, because Friday was Bray Wyatt's birthday, and so like that's why they had the cake there at the end of the show. But aside from that, I mean, look, even though it's still WWE, it's the WWE under Triple H is not the exact same carbon copy as it was under the old man. Under the old man, there would have definitely been a lane for the YFWP. Under how Triple H does it, not quite as much. I think that
he's even kind of admitted it too.
Yeah, and I think for what they present, and mind you, like, I mean, granted, Bray and Bo are legit brothers. Sometimes some people got the Riz and some people don't. And I don't feel like Bo's never really had it, even back when he was himself back in NXT on the main roster. Just
even Bo Dallas.
No, I did not believe back then either. I did not. And I feel like there's members of that group that could cook. I feel like Dexter Loomis, like if they actually want to do his own thing, I feel like that could be something. Of course, we've already seen the multiple variations of Nikki Cross that can go off. Rowan, hey, we tried. I think you and Braun might be a better thing together elsewhere.
Yeah, dinosaurs.
But yeah, it's just the curl isn't curling quite right here, and I'm just like, I think that window's closed. I think you got to let things be, and maybe at best you live things vicariously through Alexa Bliss, but I just don't see it.
Man, I don't even put Alexa Bliss in that.
I will say there are some people out there that ride so hard for, because it's kind of like the Dale Earnhardt effect, where like because you were such big fans of Papa Dale, you went up being a fan of Dale Jr. And I feel like in the case here, you're such a big fans of Bray, so you're gonna try to be fans of Bo and Uncle Howdy. I'm just like, sometimes it just ain't the same thing. And I said, more power to you if that's your deal, but I think for just the space that they're in right now, it just doesn't fit.
Completely agree. The people are in love with the potential of Wyatt 6, right? And it just on paper, it just doesn't stick quite the same. And I'm rooting for their success. I want it to happen. Like the idea and everything that Bray Wyatt, he put together was a masterpiece, for a lack of a better term. But yeah, it's you can't do Black Panther without Chadwick Boseman, and that's essentially what this is. It's the same kind of thing. So, and like I was even said before, there was a documentary they did. I forget, was it on Netflix? But the documentary that they did on Bray Wyatt, the WWE documentary, Triple H even said like everything Bray did was so great, but then ding ding, and then what? You have all these great ideas until it's time to ring the bell, and then what's going to happen? Everything kind of falls apart. So if it was hard for him to kind of believe in it then, now that he's gone, you're just really riding the coattails at this point. So
yeah.
I want to, I want it to succeed. I'm a root for it in the best opportunity that I can, but I can only see it going so far, honestly.
Okay. Well, I'm not too sad about it. And speaking of, maybe going back to the drawing board with something, WrestleMania, going to back to the drawing board when it comes to Nolans. They said, we don't care about you. Your area is too small. We actually did a couple of laps. We figured out how many people come to this area during WrestleManias. New Orleans can't handle us. We're picking up our bag and going somewhere else. And Grey Go, I mean, not surprising, always trying to fight for the honor of wrestling. I'm sure you feel a way about them potentially trying to go back to Vegas for the money.
I have a few viewpoints on this. First and foremost, I feel like since they've been bought by TKO and Endeavor and everything, I feel as though we've seen this slow burn from the touring model that WWE has known for years and years, to suddenly is trying to be more like UFC, which TKO already owned. And it just doesn't sit right with me, because I feel like, one, you're already talking about taking away more house shows, which even without the money aspect to it, I feel as though it's something that keeps your wrestlers sharp, because you can't just get up and go like a couple weeks without wrestling a match and not feel it. I feel like that's something that's huge. But I also see like where they used to pretty much just be like primarily U.S. and Canada for their PLEs and everything. Now you're seeing they're going all over the world. They're going to Europe. They're going to Saudi Arabia even more. They're I think they're about to do Mexico pretty soon, and it's one of those things where like you see it like more and more they're trying to model it more like the UFC style. And I'm just like, especially if we're given like how expensive these tickets are getting now, I'm just like, you're pushing out a lot of people who I think were
your fan base, your target
more
fan
than
base.
face. Yeah. And like I don't know if y'all have seen like the prices for the 2 nights at SummerSlam up in Jersey, but like you're already paying that much for WrestleMania, if not more. And it's like, I don't know if people just got that kind of money just sitting around to say, hey, I'm gonna do that twice a year, every year going forward. I'm just like, that just doesn't sit right. Like even here in Atlanta, like they announced over the weekend that they're coming here the weekend of the July 12th. Of course, mind you, that's also Beyonce weekend. So that whole intersection where the Benz and State Farm is, you might as well go ahead and just ride the MARTA. I'm gonna just go ahead and say that right now. But yeah, like you're trying to cram in so much. All just like it's almost like you're afraid that once the economy does crash, that you're definitely gonna get that money again. It's like, just be easy with that shit. But like you're trying to copy so much of what the UFC does. And like there's a reason why MMA has its own lane and why pro wrestling has its own lane. It's like, let wrestling be wrestling, and you don't have to erase everything just to basically have ads and shit everywhere that you go. Like, just be smart about this. I'm sure they're gonna say that, hey, we got all the best people. And I'm like, nah, like there's certain things that's like you gotta make sure that this is still an accessible product for not just the people who got money, but also the families out there who do save up to get that one show a year and things like that. So it's frustrating to see.
They said quit being broke boys and stay home then.
I
Get
mean,
you a better surround system.
They're gonna stay home and end up flipping the channel and be like, you know what, I don't fuck with that anymore. Because like just imagine the people who saw the Rock's announcement a couple months ago say, hey, we're coming to New Orleans for WrestleMania 41. They said, nah, we're gonna renege on that. It's like, how many people are gonna be like, you know what, fuck them? Like because it can leave a very bad taste in people's mouths. Mind you, at least they haven't gone as far as to start selling tickets and everything. But still, it's just the fact that like, hey, you really had this whole drawn up presentation on SmackDown and said, hey, the Rock's coming to New Orleans next year for Mania and all that jazz. And of course, that's another thing that the Rock's fucked up on. But hey, I just think that there's
3 strikes and you're out, buddy.
Oh, but yeah, I just think that there's a way to be smart about it, so that way everybody can still be a part of the experience and not just have to. Because like they just had SmackDown in Savannah last week. Like I'm pretty sure under this new model they'd be like, nah, Savannah's not big enough for us anymore. Like maybe we'll see you in Jacksonville. More than likely it'd be Orlando or Tampa, or you have to come up to Atlanta. Like there's things like that just it just really bugs me. Insane.
Yeah, no, same kind of deal. You always got to remember your target fan base. No matter how big you get, no matter how well you progress, you don't never forget your day ones, because those are the people that are when your casuals disappear, those are the people that are still going to be lining your pockets, and you're essentially pricing them out with every PLE that you guys continue to put on in every sense. So it's working now, but it's going to come to a head at some point.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's marketing 101.
Because the thing about it is that, you know, the product isn't always going to be hot forever. Like, they're already talking about, like, you know, there being like a lull after WrestleMania and everything because of everything that fell out with The Rock and Cena and all that shit. And it's like, you know, you're already kind of on somewhat tricky waters right now. Like, you don't want to mess it up even more by, one, you know, the product not regaining the steam that it had, and two, you keep pricing out people that who are steadily faithful to watching as much of the product as they can, and suddenly they're like, nah, I don't even want to do that. I don't even want to watch it, let alone go to a show. So
That's fair. That's fair. I want to keep it moving because I'm sure there's plenty more to come to that story. Say his name, and he appears to lose his title to Trick. Call him TNA Trick, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's what I am. I'm not shocked that real wrestling fans like Grego, who are upset about WWE money grabbing in Vegas, would also be the same people who are pissed at Trick taking away Joe Henry's title. Joe Hendry, who's worked so hard to really get to where he has gotten, and to now have to not necessarily start over, because now they're just moving the storyline over to TNA full time, basically.
No, they just had some on NXT just a second ago.
Well, yeah, I know, but he's gonna really be seen on TNA now because he has the belt. Like, they're gonna do both. It's and so the way that I see it, I'll just call myself a casual. It's fine. I'm not gonna watch TNA, but I am more interested in what's going on in TNA because of that, and that they don't need everybody to start paying attention to TNA, but they do need some of the people.
Right.
And I like the fact, at Battleground, they showed, is it the owner of TNA, how pissed he looked at the end? Like, watching that, like, that's good to see that he understands, like, it's just part of the game. Your guy loses now to eventually win in a triumphant way, finally beating somebody on NXT, being able to also low-key acknowledge that TNA has good enough wrestlers to beat NXT wrestlers. And I know that's like
I sure hope
WWE's
so.
minor league and stuff like that, so that kind of looks away. But when it just comes to popularity, when it comes to money being brought in, TNA ranks where they rank, and it is what it is. But actually, I'll start with you, Devin. Like, what are your initial thoughts on all of this? Like, do you like it? Are you upset? Do you understand it? Like, where do you hope it goes?
Let's kind of just to in an overarching sense. I like it, right? I like the rivalry. I like the forbidden door being opened, right? This is something that has that we just literally have been kind of begging for our entire lives, and one man just absolutely refused to even acknowledge that there was wrestling outside of WWE, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like it, and it's what kind of fans have been asking for a long time. So to see this, interaction, this mingling between companies, I'm all for it. I guess, and I like the rivalry too between Hendry and Trick. They play off each other very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives Hendry credibility in a sense, like, and we talked about this on a previous episode. Initially, Joe Hendry was kind of a joke character, right?
Yeah.
Like, he was just kind of like a character, more than he was like a wrestler. And this is ultimately like really legitimized Joe Hendry. Like, people believe in Joe Hendry now. And so I'm all for that, and I'm all for that support. It's weird. The one thing that just, like, I don't even say it's a bad taste in my mouth, but it just ultimately shocked me, is just to see another company drop their belt on another show, right?
Yeah.
Unless you really like if they came out and said like with AAA, like we're going to, we're going to have this partnership, and they kind of did, like, they announced the partnership. But if they were really just like WWE is going to like own TNA now, then I could see it. But to just have your champion just drop his belt on another show, it was just like, wow, y'all really went there. Like the audacity of y'all, in a sense, like that was real crazy to me. And it kind of makes sense to kind of wrap it all up. Why Trick hasn't been on the main roster yet? Because he's about to do double duty between TNA and NXT, and he's perfectly capable of doing that. And I think he's definitely the right man to do that. And again, like this is not the end of Joe Hendry as well. Like I haven't seen NXT. I'm not watching it right now just yet. But Battleground was absolutely amazing.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, but. I'm curious to see where Joe Hendry goes with this. I know he's going to get his redemption story out of all this. They, in a sense, you can see WWE kind of handpick Joe Hendry to be the guy to kind of have this redemption arc, to be in the Royal Rumble, to face Randy Orton at WrestleMania, to up to this point. Like they are really like investing in Joe Hendry. So I like to see it. I'm really curious to see where Joe Hendry goes from here with all this. Is he going to be like on NXT permanently? Is he going to, eventually have the NXT title, which I can absolutely see that happening, right? And then what Trick does from here as well. So it's it's interesting to it all. I'm a big fan. I'm happy to see these companies finally like linking up, like, we can go further together, in a sense, because that's really what the fans really want in all this. Yep. So I think this is really just an opportunity to give the fans what they want. I like it, and I'm here. I'm curious to see where it goes from here.
Here, let's go here then. We know the short-term payoff is Joe Hendry gets the title back. You even hinted at it in the future. Does this mean Joe Hendry is low-key NXT person come the future? Especially because WWE has put him in big spots that would lead you to believe that he's going to be a WWE wrestler eventually. Mm-hmm. I guess what is Grego, what do you think is the short-term payoff for TNA, and then what would be a long-term payoff for NXT or for TNA in this? Because like what are they getting out of this other than the fact that some minor league WWE wrestlers are going to be on their show?
That's a big question, because I know I said after the spot at Mania with Orton, I was like, this can work out for TNA pretty well depending on how they spin it. I'll honestly say that after Sunday, I was like, I don't know about that one. Like, I need to see I think I've calmed down a little bit since Sunday, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, because of course I'm watching NXT right now. They're already kind of teasing Mike Santana versus Trick pretty soon. They have a big show in New York in 2 months, so I'm pretty sure. If not Trick, obviously Joe Hendry will be up in that as well. So you're probably gonna have some type of build up for that show. Of course, mind you, Mike Santana, he's from New York, Puerto Rican guy. He used to be in TNA and everything. And I'm very curious to see like how this spins out, because like I feel like you've had Joe Hendry. He was in the Rumble this year. He had the spot with Orton at Mania. He's lost both of those. Then you defend the TNA belt on an NXT PLE. You lose that too. So far, your exposure to the WWE audience has been, you have the viral moment, but then you lose. And it's like, I see
after a while, it keeps your credibility.
Exactly. And I had a quick conversation about that on Blue Sky that night, because like again, like to this, the WWE audience isn't the same as the TNA audience, and what they're seeing so far is, you wave your hands from side to side and then you lose, and it's like it's not going to help that by the time you do become a WWE wrestler, all they're used to is you losing. So at some point, we got to get to the point where you got to start winning again. And that's the story that I think needs to be told, both in the short term as well as the long term. Because by the time that he finally does move over, I personally think he's going to be a main roster guy straight away. And like this is basically his NXT time now. So when he signs over, he'll be main roster. But I do think that you really need to establish that like this guy's actually credible and actually win against WWE talent. So that's pretty much your mission going forward. So I do see where TNA is benefiting, because like they're doing better with weekly shows. They're able to do a little bit of touring now and fill up smaller arenas and everything. So you are seeing that benefit. Of course, I'm kind of like you in this regard, Crunk. Like I don't watch TNA every week, but at the same time, I'm at least aware of where it is.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And I know how to at least access clips and everything. So, I think we talked about this like back last year, like when like the partnership really got going. It's like, personally, I feel as though, given their ownership and their network situation, I feel it's like if this doesn't result in a bigger network deal elsewhere where your owner still gets paid, I don't know what this is all for. Because I'm like this should all be bringing in more business for TNA and for Anthem and all that jazz. If you're not doing that, then it's all like you're basically getting played. Kind of like how they were with when they were partnering with AEW.
I can watch TNA on Plex.
Technically, yes.
I'm okay with that. I've been watching a couple of really random shows on Plex. That's really nice. Cool. So I was like, how can
here's where the groundwork is done.
Exactly.
And that's just it. Because access isn't available on every cable carrier. So unless you got the Fire Stick method, you gotta get in where you fit in. So it's definitely it's definitely there. It's just a matter of, depending on where you at, like you got to do a little bit more digging. And then the stuff is decent. Like they come a very long way, but it's just you gotta be able to find it. So yeah.
Okay. Let's. There's women in wrestling right now are obviously killing it on all brands. Battleground was insane. The women's fights. Even
this was a very good weekend for women's wrestling.
Even WWE with like their mid-card titles. I'm locked into all of them. Like they even found a way to get Candice LeRae somewhat interesting again. Like shout out to them. Like they really are cooking, and it's really great to see like our mid-card men titles, tag teams all cooking. Like wrestling just in general is in a really good spot with storytelling. They seem to be kind of like feeding off of each other. They're inspiring each other, WWE and AEW, and then WWE doing their thing with AAA and TNA, and which is helping all of these other groups. And technically the cuts are feeding indies a little bit. So like, everyone, if they do, it's levels of eating, but everyone's able to kind of eat and do their thing right now.
I mean, there's a lot of what you are realizing, not to be so crass. There's a lot of pie out here to eat, and even if you go over to AEW, like in the shows at Double or Nothing, like Mercedes and Jamie Hayter, I was like, they put on bangers, and even the fucking Anarchy in Arena. Willow, I'm so I'm so happy for you that you signed a new contract at the same time. I'm like, dog, like if there's one person from AEW I would have loved to have signed, is fucking Willow. And yeah, like all over the weekend, it's like it was really, really good. And it's like I was having a conversation earlier in one of my group chats, like right now we're still in a very strong peak era of women's wrestling. Like, you talk about everything when on the main roster, WWE, NXT. I would say that where things are going right now with AEW, they're probably the best they've ever been with the women's division. TNA, they're still doing their thing with the Knockouts division. Of course, you are with the AAA merger. They have their own set of women that are coming over. You saw a couple of them at the at Battleground, like dog, like the older one, I forgot her name. Delise, like she about to, like, yo, she's giving that look to her kids before, like, you about to get this chancla real quick.
Yeah, big facts. Big facts.
But yeah, like, it's a really cool time. Like, I'm definitely looking forward to the Worlds Collide show and seeing like how that forms up. Because again, like for a lot of people here in the U.S., like obviously we probably have heard of AAA and CMLL, but as far as actually seeing it on TV, that we haven't really seen. And of course, like I want to say, like, this is like the first time that WWE has put the NXT PLE on YouTube for Worlds Collide, because in conjunction with the with AAA, they want to make sure, hey, we get these faces out here and everything. So
maximum exposure, yeah.
So I'm like, it's a pretty quick turnaround. It's only going to be like 2 weeks, but at the same time, you can get so much done in 2 weeks. And just again, this is just a start of what will be years and years of exposure. So we'll see where things go. But the women, they're doing their thug dizzle right now.
Yeah, no. Again, to even go back to Battleground, I fully expected Jordan Grace to beat Stephanie Vaquer first and foremost. I was just like, I thought this was the time.
Yeah.
And for her to win, great match, that went both ways, by the way. But for her to still win, I'm curious to see what the plan is. I mean, I know they're about to have her on Worlds Collide too, but I feel like Jordan Grace can be a champion. She should be a champion. And I think it's getting to a kind of point for her as well. It's just like, where's her big win coming? Where's that coming for her as well? Or is
they
she
got
just
Julia
kind of
out of her way. They got Roxanne out of her way. They just need to get Stephanie out of the way. And however they do that, whenever they do that, that's when Jordan's going to get her turn. But until they get Stephanie out the way, which I feel like she's not far away from getting the promotion, but they just brought up Julia and Roxanne, so they got to let them cook for a little bit. But once they get done cooking, they'll bring up Stephanie Vaquer, because she's ready. She's 100% ready.
She's ready.
Even when they brought her,
exactly.
And even when they brought her up to the top shows, the aura is shining. Like, she just the way that she plays, and obviously Booker T's like, it's just the small things that has also helped, because I think that could translate to when it gets to WWE. It could legitimately be Braun Breaker's barking. It could, like, where the crowd is doing it with Stephanie when she does that move. So like I'm very excited for where women's wrestling is going to go. I keep hearing them talk about an all women's PLE. Like,
yes, that's coming here. So like, again, that weekend that they're doing NXT Great American Bash, Saturday's main event. I think those two are on the same day. That's that Saturday. Then on Sunday, they're doing Evolution, the women's PLE. So again,
and I love that, because I mean, that's something, if they wanted to, they could do like twice a year. Like,
they
could
easily.
Like, the first one they did, it was immaculate. The first one they did a few years ago was immaculate. It was, I mean, I was tuned in for it. It was pretty much women's WrestleMania, and they absolutely crushed it. This was a while ago. I mean, this was, even still Sasha and, was still there. And I think, I forget what like Ronda Rousey, I think, was part of it too, if I remember correctly. That's how, that's how far ago it was. But like, it was absolutely amazing when they did it. And I thought it was going to be something that was going to be perennial. But we'll see where they go with it from here. If it's something they're going to continue to do going forward, but I'll just say like the very first one was 10 out of 10, no notes.
That's fair. I want
and again, if you're coming here for that weekend, take the MARTA because Beyonce's got like 4 of 5 nights here in Atlanta. So like, and she's gonna be next door in the bin. So that's gonna be like at least a smooth 60,000. So yeah, you talk about like probably a good 14, 50,000 over in State Farm. Like, just take the MARTA. Just do that.
Okay, a little cool down topic before we get out of here. When it comes to the final 3 topics, it's just straight heat. It looks like the Redeemer, Rusev versus Sheamus. That is where we're going. And again, Sheamus,
big meaty man, slap me.
Exactly. And I like that they've had Sheamus show up, kick someone's ass, and then he disappears for like 3 weeks, 3-4 weeks, gets in better shape, comes back, kicks someone's ass, disappears for a little bit, comes back in even better shape, and now he looks like old school Sheamus. And Rusev looks like a complete beast. This is gonna be an absolute banger. This is old school wrestling for the modern day almost.
Yeah,
hold on. And excuse me, I don't know that. What is the accolade? What is that?
That's Rusev's finisher.
The accolade.
Okay.
Yeah. This is camel clutch, basically. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that they used to be like a tag team or something.
Oh no, that's the name of Rusev's.
No, it's a Star Wars show.
Oh man. Okay, but I mean, as you two being our resident old wrestling heads, like why is this match important? Because this really is kind of like keeping wrestling classic.
I mean, definitely we're still in the mode of where we're reestablishing Rusev back in WWE. Obviously Sheamus, he's a long-time vet, so he could probably take the L and not get hurt too much in losing. But yeah, I think that, of course, mind you, they have a past history. They used to be in a faction called, was it the United Nations, Devin?
Yeah. The League of Nations.
That's it. League of Nations with Del Rio and Wade Barrett, and that's so like they'll probably tie that in a little bit with this feud. But yeah, I think that just given where both of these guys are now, I feel like definitely allows for not just to kind of do a rewind, but also kind of like catch us up to where we are now, to where why you could be like, why didn't they keep in touch while Rusev was gone and all that jazz. But yeah, I think that this can work again. Like I think that for what WWE needs right now, I think they definitely need a guy like Sheamus, looking really good. So hopefully he does get a push sometime in the next year. But yeah, I think like right now it's just like, hey, just have him just mow through guys and really make him, become that monster that we need.
Yeah, I think Sheamus is the perfect guy to do this, right? Like Sheamus is such a bruiser, not a bad guy, but he's just I'm gonna beat the crap out of you kind of guy. I think this is the perfect guy for Rusev. And I remember, again, a few episodes ago, you were saying like, where do we go with Rusev? Like he can't just beat up on Alpha Academy, right? So I think here so you had Otis and Tozawa, squash matches. Now here's your powerhouse, right? Yeah. Now here's where it gets legitimate now. So, and you knew it was coming, right? He wasn't just gonna, beat up on the Miz. He wasn't just gonna beat up on Alpha Academy the entire time. So I think this is a great opportunity to legitimize Rusev with somebody that's a powerhouse, that's old enough, that's a vet, that can get beat down and it not really hurt him in that sense. So I think this is great. I'm looking forward to it again. Big meaty men slapping meat. That's what we watch. That's what we came here for. So that's what's on the menu. That's what's for dinner.
And speaking of what's for dinner, Drizzy Dom, the Drizzmeister, the Rizmeister. He's
And
eating
the
all
nugs.
Roxanne Perez's nuggets and getting himself in trouble.
No, the worst part about all this is fucking Finn being the messiest guy.
Instigator. He is such an instigator.
Because you can just tell us like, yeah, come on over here, take a look at what's happening over here. Look, because Liv's just came back from filming her movie. I guess they were filming out in Japan and everything. And, obviously while she's been gone, we've had the entry of Miss Roxanne Perez, tiptoe her way into the good graces of Judgment Day. And, the easiest way to Dom's hardest, is to bring the attendees up in the spot. And
honest.
I mean, I'm saying, and
But what if you're hungry though? Like, I'm just not supposed to eat this food that's been offered to me.
Listen, you got to understand though. With Dom, if it ain't tendies, it ain't happening. It just ain't happening. So, she did her homework. Roxanne did her homework and said, "Hey, I know what the man needs, and I need to go ahead and hook him up with the tendies." And it's going to get to a point where the women that are on Raw, they're no longer going to be fighting for the World Heavyweight Championship. They're going to be fighting for the Dom. Matter of fact, if you have the belt, you might as well go ahead and just rename it to the Dom. Say, I have the Dom, so I make the rules. So, because where the belt goes, you find Dom. Where Dom goes, you find the belt. So, I think that with this new insertion into, well, she's not even an official member yet, but at the same time, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time because especially if Finn has his way, he'd be like, yeah, just go ahead and use her real quick. Go ahead and use. Of course, it didn't quite work out for Liv against Kyrie on Monday, but
she tried to help. She did try to help.
We can do better. We can be better. Make Judgment Day great again.
Yeah.
No, very interesting stuff. No, I like where this is going. Again, Roxanne Perez, another great wrestler in all this. Very interested to see like what happens, how with Liv and Raquel and all this. Do they drop their I'm curious to see just how this is going to work out. But yeah, Dom is a legend in 2 games, right? Like, I mean, call that man Pee Wee Kirkland because this man is winning in the ring and he's winning outside the ring as well. Man.
He's a walking bucket. He's automatic.
Call that man Tyrese Halliburton, bro. But yeah, no, it's a crazy story. We got to keep the Judgment Day relevant again. And yeah, I mean, obviously, this is going to come down to Liv and Roxanne at some point. I guess 1v1 for the custody of Dom, as I saw on a meme. So yeah, I'm letting it play out, and I want to see how they settle their differences.
I say Dom's about to become Derek Jeter. That's all I gotta say. You're about to become Jeter.
1,000%. Oh man, Jey Uso. After cooking as long as he's doing, he seemed to really be figuring some stuff out, and he absolutely seppuku himself during Raw.
Seppuku.
Yeah, like that was one of his worst promos I've seen in a while. And I get becoming overwhelmed, or maybe he was just trying to figure out something witty. What I will say is Gunther absolutely smashed it in his promo, and I could get why that would have shook up Jey Uso, but it shook him up. It was bad. There was just a moment where he just stopped talking and he was just pacing back and forth really fast for like 5 seconds, and I was just like, "Oh no, Jay!"
It's tough sometimes because it's live TV, and you don't have a chance to do another take. It's like, hey, what you get is what you get on the TV.
Don't you have a promo? Like, you need a few
So
different angles. Like, what is going on? Like,
so
why
so
doesn't
here
he seem more prepared?
so here's the thing there, because obviously, like back when the old man was in charge, most of that stuff was largely like scripted, like Dan, almost to the
Headlines.
letter. To the letter. Now with
Mhm.
Triple H, and this is something they started back when he was running NXT, is that he wanted to get back to a place where, at best, is like you got the bullet points as far as what you're supposed to talk about, but for the most part, it's
It
you.
was
Like,
authentic.
yeah, because obviously if it doesn't feel real to you, it's not gonna feel real to anybody else. And I feel as though, especially like for what all that Jay does, when he, like, having to go through the crowd, to get to the ring and everything, all the yeeting and everything, and then running it back, eating some more. And I feel like by the time you get through all that, it's like, dog, like, you are probably exhausted, and then you have to snap back and be like, okay, what am I talking about? What's the game plan here? And if you get too far outside of your lane, it's like you just lose all track of thought and everything. And yeah, like, I feel as though, like, he definitely had a moment where it's like, yeah, that wasn't a good day at the office. And mind you, after what happened on Saturday, like, I think I know I've seen where there's been concerns as far as whether or not they're making him feel like he's the world champion, because it'd be obviously you had John Cena come in, run in, start beating up on him. Then Cody finally comes back, starts attacking Cena, and like, it suddenly goes from Jay and Logan Paul being the focus, suddenly it's back to Cody and Cena,
Cody.
and Jay, as the world champion, mind you, is kind of like a role player in this. And I feel like, it's still important to remember that you're trying to establish him as someone that could be champion and someone that they could rely on in that spot if he ever gets this chance again. And I feel as though a little bit on Saturday, but definitely on Monday, it's like, it's something to kind of keep an eye on, especially at this time of the year, because like Money in the Bank's coming up, and everything. It's like, if they feel any type of like uneasy about this, like, let's go ahead and just cash this in real quick, ching, and then we got the champ. So yeah,
Yeah, Gunther and Rollins right there. So
and more. So yeah, they're still filling out the field for who's going to be in the Money in the Bank match, but yeah, I feel as though if they got any type of doubts, it wouldn't take much to be like, you know what, let's go ahead and pivot, as they say. Let's pivot.
yeah. Yeah, no, I think Grego made some great points. I think, yeah, especially the Saturday night main event, it was, Jay and Logan, and then here comes Cena, then here comes Cody, and now we have a tag match, and it you lost sight of the plot real fast. Like, the plot instantly shifted. And yeah, it's becoming more obvious, and we kind of had this, we kind of talked about this again. I always kind of rehash old episodes. We kind of had this talk, like, is this just a placeholder belt, or is this a legitimate run? And it's starting to toe that line. Very much. And I mean, this could easily Gunter getting it back,
Yep.
how it was kind of like Jay did the impossible to beat him the first time. Like, lightning isn't going to strike twice, in a sense, right? So unless some crazy interaction, some crazy interference happens, Gunter's the one holding all the cards right now. So
And mind
um
you, like, it's the tag matches at Money in the Bank, the rematch with Gunther is like that Monday right after. So those those 72 hours is like, by the end of that Monday, like, even if it's Gunther, you can see
spent, bro.
you can be seeing a new champ, because again, by that point, you already know who has the Money in the Bank, and they'll be like, hey, I have all these opportunities right now to take advantage of at least Jay, if not Gunter, be like, hey, let's go ahead and go here. Mind you, of course, you could always do Cena. Of course, I doubt anyone's going to try to cash in on Cena right now because he seems like he's on pure Terminator mode right now with the way he went through R-Truth. But yeah, it's treacherous times for our dear Jay.
Yeet Master.
Well, I
Ski
mean,
yeet.
even staying in Money in the Bank, we have for the men, Solo Sikoa, LA Knight, Penta, and Seth Rollins have secured their spot in it. There are 2 spots left for the men. I think, what was it?
They probably have those matches on SmackDown on Friday.
Yeah. And then for 4 out of the 6 women are Alexa Bliss, Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley, and Julia. I guess who are the 2 spots open for? Who would you like to see in this Money in the Bank?
Let me see here, because I need to see who else they're planning on matching. Because I know, especially with the women, the interesting thing there is that they had Charlotte lose her qualifying match, and it seems like they're really trying to cook something with her and Alexa. I don't know if it's just like the rebuilding story of Charlotte or something else, but it's definitely something where I feel like people are trying to think it's the obvious picks, and I feel like those people don't really need Money in the Bank. Because Rhea doesn't need Money in the Bank right now. She can get her own title shots on her own. I could see an avenue where Seth could win it, but at the same time, I feel like no. I feel like the way he's going, he won't need that help to get a title shot. I feel like this is something that's probably made for someone like LA Knight to finally get a real shot at the world title, something like that. I'm wondering if Rusev is going to be in here, because I feel like even though I don't think he'll win, I do feel like it's something where it could put him in a really good position, going forward. But it's
So what I'm seeing here when I'm looking at Nia Jax, Naomi, and Jade are going to battle for a spot, and then I'm seeing. Yeah, of course. And so Jade's gonna come out on that one. And then you see Jacob Fatu.
I think Naomi might win that one. I think Naomi might. Yeah. I could see Jade, but I could really see Naomi. I could really see that.
I like that. And then what was the men's?
Jacob Fatu versus Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes.
Of course, Andrade and Carmelo.
Yeah.
I see either Jacob or Melo.
No, it's definitely Jacob, because Solo's already in it.
Yeah, and just the way they've been cooking that one up, they're going to have something at Money to Bank. Neither one will win, but they're going to have something in that match to further their stuff. So.
Yeah, and they were all walking together when Solo found out that he was in the match, and you could even see Solo's face where he was just like, "Oh, I don't like this, but I'm gonna act like it's good."
I made a huge mistake, and of course we've while we were gone, we missed on the debut of Jeff Cobb now going as JC Mateo, which I don't know what Nickelodeon name machine they went through for that one, but he's been doing his thing so far. Obviously, he and Jacob, especially Jacob, is like, no, I don't fuck with him like that. So, that's adding to the it's added to the tension, the existing tension with him and Solo. But it's something where, again, I feel as though even if they don't win, it's something that will progress that story to at least the point whenever Jacob decides, I don't love you no more, leaves Solo's group. But it's yeah, I feel it like in my head. I feel like it's lining up for I think LA Knight, and assuming she does qualify, like I said, I see Naomi.
JC Mateo feels like if Big Bronson Reed was like a dog chew toy, like a squeaker. Like,
Bronson Reed's little brother.
Like,
It's his little brother.
Yeah, like
his big little brother. His big little brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this, like I don't want this to come off anywhere remotely racist, but at the same time, I feel like this is what when you end up like you know what, we may have too many guys that might look alike. You need to have some type of separation. I feel like this is why they're not really focusing necessarily on the bloodline right now. It's just that it's just everybody's kind of having like their own individual stories right now because it's like, hey, we need a little break from this for a little while. And I feel as though like when you start over putting in too many that look alike, it's like it becomes a case of where what's the difference between each one? Like you got to start digging into stories and all that stuff.
And that's why Fatu said he's not famous. He's like, you're not famous. You're not famous.
Hey yo.
Keep it to yourself. I'm watching it in the morning.
Do I need to turn on NXT?
Yes, you do.
But either way, keep it to yourselves because I will be watching it in the morning
right now.
But yeah, I like how Chica Fatu told JC that he's not family. So like that's kind of it's acknowledging, hey, he isn't one of us. He looks like us, so we're gonna let him in. You know, I understand his point.
Disgrace.
Okay.
We have
to talk about my boy Seth Rollins.
Yeah,
building a super team, and so that is Big Bronson Reed, the newest addition with Braun Breaker. Big Bronson Reed was re-debuted during Saturday Night Main Event, taking out CM Punk. Oh my gosh, it's good to see. I loved Heyman's promo, basically being like, "Hey, Bronson Reed kicked Seth Rollins' ass so badly that he told him, be on my team. I don't want to have to deal with you." That's how big of a problem he is. I love that. I absolutely love that. You know, eventually they're going to turn on Seth Rollins because that's even how Heyman is setting it up, that Braun Breaker, he's going to be WrestleMania 40 and 41 and 42 and 43 and 44. And then this is the dude who smashed Seth Rollins so badly. But also, Seth Rollins is supposed to be the future of wrestling. This is great. Where we have
maybe for himself, but Heyman got different plans. Like, you know what? You're just the right now. You're not gonna be the guy for tomorrow.
Yeah,
and
like,
it's
exactly who he's turned for. Like he's with Seth now, but now that we've seen him turn on CM Punk and the tribal chief, the original tribal chief, we know he can turn on anybody. Set that precedent. And Rollins is just the new guy. He's the flavor of the month. It's just only a matter of who and when and how. But I'm going to enjoy this ride for what it is because they haven't even really started cooking with this team. And they can be dominant for a long time if they want to. Like, very similar to the Bloodline. If they were still together and they all had titles in 2 years from now, I'd be like, yeah, cool. That makes sense. I'm here for it.
It's I feel it's like, honestly, I was surprised, but at the same time not surprised because I felt as though everything was kind of lining up for Sammy to be that third guy and turn on Punk during the match. But obviously, like, there's a lot of people who kind of question why would Bronson join Seth given their history last year. But at the same time, I'm like, if I'm Seth, if I'm Seth, would I want a guy like that chasing me when he came back? Absolutely not. So why not have him on my side, looking out for me, instead of having to watch my back, seeing if he gonna try to tsunami me again. That's not what's good for the streets. So it's I think it's a really good move. Of course, Monday they came out looking cleaner than the Board of Health. Like, I mean, like
all black.
Bronson cleans up nice. Bronson clean. I was like, that's that. I like the Cuban link chain. I was like this is good right here. This is good. So it's obviously like it's crazy because since Punk's come back to WWE, obviously I think the overriding story arc has been him and Seth, and it's one of those stories where I feel like it'll probably never be over. To quote Dusty, it'll never be over. And whether you take the foot off the gas for a little bit, decide to press it for a little bit, it's always going to be there. So I feel like you can use Punk already did come back at least a little bit last night. But I feel as though once they finally get they're gonna figure a way to get the belt on Seth, and then and then probably use Punk's words against him and be like, hey, as long as you're breathing, you won't be champ. Like, okay, well, we can take care of that. We can knock you out, and that's how Seth becomes champ. So I like where this is going. It could probably heat up a little bit more, but at the same time, I like where this is building.
Yeah, no, fully agree. This could definitely be a Bloodline 2.0 faction, and I think that's what they're essentially trying to build this towards as well. You have your indestructible muscle now, right? Like you thought it was cool just with Bronson. I mean, just with Braun Breaker, right? You thought it was cool then. That's where you thought he was the muscle guy. He was the one that was coming for all the smoke. Now you got lefty and righty, so yeah, it's making obviously I don't want to say it's making Seth untouchable because obviously CM Punk got his lick back last night, but like in a sense you're building an unstoppable faction through them both. And it's highlighting Seth and Punk's rivalry even more. Like Grego said, I think now Punk can't do this by himself, so now he has to kind of get some help. It's kind of giving me like a corporate ministry versus the union kind of feel again.
Oh wow, that's a deep cut right there. That's a deep cut.
And I love watching Seth's promo at the beginning of Raw. And the crowd has always sung his song, but just having those two mammoth men behind him, Paul Heyman doing the intro, just going from the crowd doing Seth Rollins chants to then them barking to then my name is Paul Heyman. It felt big time. It just felt big time. It looked big time. I'm so happy for Seth Rollins. Like everybody's been wondering and questioning how he is going to hit that like superstardom level, that Roman Reigns level, that tip top, that Cody Rhodes level, and he's getting there. He's close. I'm interested to see what they do with the storyline. Yeah, no, he still has some way to go, but it's definitely not as much as it was. I felt even 4 months ago, even 3 months ago. He's made a lot of progress in a very short amount of time.
I feel like they're the interesting thing about that promo was that they really did kind of call out the hypocrisy with the fans, because he was just as easily able to get them cheering and singing along with the song, and then like 2 minutes later have them booing him out of the building, and then by the end of the promo they're back to singing. It's like, dog, like y'all don't know what y'all want to do. Y'all just want to be part. You just want to be a part of the show. Like, hey, we're here. We're just like we're here. Acknowledge us and all that stuff. So, I think that Seth knows that at a moment's notice, he's got the crowd right in the palm of his hands, and that's a crazy power to have when you think about it. And
yeah,
and especially as how this story goes, I feel like there probably will come a certain point where they're like, okay, we can't keep cheering this. Like we gotta draw a line here and not fuck with them. But yeah. Well, listen, we'll see how far the string is taking us. We'll see how strong the string is along.
Say that. What does he have to do to hit the level of where people aren't cheering aren't doing the chanting anymore? Like how? Like what evil deed?
Get rid of the song.
Can he do that though?
Well, I feel like he kind of proved last night that he kind of has to keep it because he knows he kind of uses that to kind of like keep the fans on a string, basically. Ideally, he would get rid of it. It's like, hey, you get nothing. You get nothing. You lose.
I'm so terrified. Because it has to be completely different. He can't keep any of that because if there's
you can't even keep the burn it down. It's like, no, you get
yeah, truly. Yeah. Also, shout out to Seth Rollins. There's this live action anime that Netflix did, and it's called Bet. It's the American version, and Seth Rollins makes a cameo. Yep. And Seth Rollins makes a cameo in it, and it's actually fantastic. I popped hard as fuck.
I just want to see what the scene that got deleted out of Captain America, because I think that was the weekend that I actually saw him in Piedmont Park with Becky and Rue. And mind you, when you see these people in person, like you don't think they're that big in person, but they really are. Because like I was definitely shocked by Becky, definitely shocked. She's like a wiry jacked.
Oh man. Okay. Well, anything that we missed that you feel like we need to address or talk about? I know there's plenty of things we can, but
actually yes, because again, so much happened this weekend. Double or Nothing AEW.
The kids heard around the world.
No. Anarchy in the arena. Now, this is like probably like one of the biggest train wrecks ever in wrestling, but I will say, for the first time, I was like, this is halfway good, and it's not even due to the soundtrack that they're playing during the match, especially when they hit bodies hit the floor and everything. Like I said, it actually made some low key sense. Second part. Hangman Page winning the Owen Hart.
They were just like DJing during a wrestling match?
Yes. Like they're playing Pointer Sisters. What else they're playing? Like I said, Drowning Pool, Bias at the Floor. They played a few songs, like because like it a couple of years ago when they were doing it, they kept playing Bryan Danielson's song like over and over. And mind you, that's an expensive ass song. So it was like they did it by mistake, but it turned that into, okay, now we got to play music during the song. So yeah, they turned into a whole thing. But yeah, somehow, some way that match worked this year. Also, Hangman Page winning the Owen Hart Cup. I honestly want to say I think he might be finally figuring things out, because they've always wanted to make him kind of like the face of AEW pretty much from the jump. And they made him champ once. Things got fucked up with Punk. And I think that when that happened, things really went sideways for a couple of years for him. I think that he's in a much better. I think that fast forward to now, I think that was 3 years ago when he faced Punk. I think he's in a much better place to take on that mantle now. So now he has John Moxley at All In Texas in July, and I think he just might win this. And I think that if they do, I think they'll be ready for it this time. Of course, there's still people. Apparently, Darby Allin actually did make it to the top of Mount Everest.
I did see that.
So they say. So they say.
Allegedly. And
He's still alive,
Yeah.
apparently. So hey,
dude,
That's all that matters, right?
That's a small dude to make it all the way to the top. That's all I'm gonna say. That's a small ass dude. But you know, I feel like the moment is probably gonna be better than any other moment there probably will ever be for Hangman. So we'll see how that goes in the next couple of weeks. Lastly, again, I don't think we really mentioned it for our battleground. Sol Ruka and Kalani, let them always fight each other. Let them always fight each other. It just always works. It just always works. But yeah, again, women's wrestling is like it's hidden. It's really hidden right now. I'm looking forward to Mercedes versus Toni Storm at All In. I think that's probably gonna be like their biggest money match probably ever for the women. Yeah, so yeah, like hopefully, you know, whoever is able to make it out to Dallas, of course, mind you, that's also the same weekend as the Atlanta stuff here. So like, and Tony Khan actually made a real point to talk about this during the scrum on Sunday, because yeah, it's definitely become a thing where WWE runs shit on the same weekend as AEW stuff. So yeah, like yeah, right now WWE and TKO is being mad petty because yeah, that they're easily taking away probably a good I say at least 5,000. They probably would have want to go to All In and say nah, I'm just gonna go over here to Atlanta, try to see all these baddies that'll be at this Beyonce concert, try to get something here. I will say this last one thing. The merging of the wrestling fans and the Beyonce fans, even if you don't go to either show, you should just be around downtown just for the people watching, because that's going to be a very interesting mix.
It's going to be a movie. It's going to be a movie.
To all of our fans that are coming here to Atlanta, just remember, shower, deodorant. You might be able to bag you a baddie. Good luck out here.
Anything for you, Devin?
How can I top that?
Shower, deodorant. You can't lose.
The promises of possibly being able to bag a baddie, or at least, you know, what you might think a baddie is. You know, baddie.
Oh no, they will be out.
Perspective. Oh, I'm not saying they won't, but also I'm just saying a baddie for one person. Yeah, exactly. Like,
may the odds ever be in your favor.
And at a Beyonce concert, the numbers will be up and should be in our favor.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Oh man. Okay. Well, that's episode 29.
Where can they find this, Mr. Crunk?
At your favorite wrestling podcast on Blue Sky. Yeah,
allegedly Instagram. Allegedly
Instagram. If you look it up, YFW podcast on Instagram, you will find an account. It is there. It will be used eventually. Yeah. Grego, where can we find you?
You can find me on Blue Sky at grego.ftcutd.com. You can find the mothership at ftcutd.com. Also on Blue Sky, FTCUTD Pod on Instagram and TikTok, and occasionally on the Bird Box at FTCUTD. And yeah.
Indeed. Same deal. Catch me ftcutd.com on Blue Sky, talking all things about the Red Cannon right there. Also catch me on Blue Sky, Devin Pugh. Catch me on Instagram _Devin Pugh.
Where can they find the trophyless Shades of Blue?
At Shades of Blue NW. At Shades of Blue NW. I thought this man said, "Hey, we're not going to talk about it," and then talks about it.
I had to get one more jab up in there, man.
You said we're not going to talk about it.
Just a little jab. Just a little.
You
jab.
didn't have to do anything. Especially coming from the person who said
I didn't have
let's
to.
not talk
you know,
about it.
But sometimes the jab is just right there.
Gracious.
Sometimes
He can't even stay true to his own word. Oh man, yes. At Shades
just
of
call me
YFWP.
Eddie. I lied. I lied.
I know a liar. Greg Gold's a liar. It bees like that though. I understand. Hey,
At least the season's over. At least the season's over.
Hey,
fine.
In a month we'll be champions of the Club World Cup, and you know that'll be something that
That'll be
you guys
something.
can
That'll just be something.
You'll never sing that. You'll never sing that. Oh no, it's above the Audi Cup. Like we don't try to put us with Tottenham. Don't be getting all petty just because you don't like Tottenham. Just because they're European champions and y'all aren't. Well, the men's aren't. The men aren't.
I was about to say let's qualify that.
I mean, North London right now is full of European champions. It's just not Arsenal men.
And all I'm going to say is we can't win a trophy we were never low enough to qualify for. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, let's get out of here. Oh, Grego, say the thing.
You got Devin, you got Kronk, you got Gregor. This is your favorite wrestling podcast. If you can't be good, shower in deodorant. See y'all soon.
And also